We are studying chapter number 6 in Science 2, which is animal classification. Today, we will focus on more and more types of animals, different, more classifications of animals, different phyla and classes. Just a quick reminder that these are the objectives of the session, objective of the lesson. Or the chapter. We understood what are the different systems of classification. We understood how the hierarchy of the classification works at the highest level. In the classification, we have the kingdom. Of course, there is living organisms and then domains, but in for classification itself, we have kingdom, and at the lowest level, we have species. And we also understood using that classification, our species, the humans, they are called Homo sapiens. In the last class, we started looking at different types of animals, how they are classified, what are their characteristics. Today, we will continue with more types of animals and what their characteristics are. But before we do that, it is very important that we remember what we have studied so far. So very quick. We understood about notochord, and this concept is very important because this is what the traditional or the older system of classification is based on. Notochord can be compared with the spine. If notochord is present, the organisms were classified as chordates, and if the notochord was absent, they were classified as non-chordates. We also understood different parts of the body. Dorsal is peach wala side, ventral is pate wala side, anterior is head wala, and posterior is leg wala side. Words we need to know. Looked at the 5 kingdom classification given by Robert Whittaker, which is based on these 5 criteria: grades of organization, cells, tissues, organs, organ system, body symmetry, that is asymmetrical, radially symmetrical, bilaterally symmetrical, germ layers, endoderm, mesoderm, ectoderm, body cavity, whether there is a coelom or not, and if there is a coelom, then is it a true coelom or a false coelom? So we have acoelomate, pseudocoelomate, and eucoelomate. And finally, body segmentation, if the body is divided into similar parts. And we saw the example of earthworms, which are divided into ring-like structures. After this, we started studying about different phyla of animal kingdom. And in the 5-kingdom classification, only the multicellular organisms are part of kingdom Animalia, and that is the kingdom that we are studying in detail in this chapter. So we don't look at phylum Protista. We start with the phylum Porifera. Remember, these are sponges. Mainly they are sponges. These details, I'm just taking you through. I'm not repeating the character. These are, this is given on page number 67 of your textbook. Remember how they look. They're important parts and cells. So what is specific to this is osculum, collar cells. Then we looked at phylum Cnidaria or Coelenterata, 2 types, polyps and medusa. So here we looked about hydra, corals. Here also we saw something specific, something very peculiar to this, that is tentacles, which have special cells called cnidoblasts, which have poison in them. We need to remember these things. Then we studied about platyhelminthes, which are commonly called as flatworms. Aschelminthus, these are also worms. They are called roundworms. And we looked at the phylum Annelida, which has a very common example of earthworm, and also leech. Many people, most of you would have come across leeches also, which stick to our bodies and they suck blood, and we don't even realize that they are there, because wherever they suck and wherever they are drilling a hole in our skin, they secrete a chemical which anesthetizes our body part. तो उस जगह पे सुन्न हो जाता है, तो हमको पता भी नहीं चलता कि कुछ काट रहा है. This is what we have studied on page number 67, 68 and 69. So before going forward, before looking at more phyla and other things, let us see if we are able to answer some questions. One type of question, very interesting question, is like you being a detective. It says, identify me. मैं कौन हूं? How can we find out? We need to read. We need to read what is given. Some characteristics are given. It's like this organism is speaking to us. The organism is telling us, I am diploblastic and acoelomate. Diploblastic and acoelomate. Which phylum do I belong to? Diploblastic and acoelomate, which phylum do I belong to? Now, one of the easy ways to find the answer to such questions is if you look at page number 66, bottom of the page, and I had told you that this is a summary of the different characteristics and different phyla. Look at page number 66. Now, there you find out diploblastic and acoelomate. If you are able to find, you will see acoelomate at three places. Acoelomate for Porifera, Cnidaria, and Platyhelminthes. Are you with me? Are you able to see? Of course, we will not have this in the exam. We will have to remember these things. The more we practice, the more we will remember. So clearly, our answer here, the organism that we are trying to identify, has to be of the phylum Porifera, Cnidaria, or Platyhelminthes. Which the answer is not very clear from this chart. So then what we can do is, we go to the details for that phylum and see which one is diploblastic. Not triploblastic, but diploblastic. So look at these three phyla, Porifera, Cnidaria, and Platyhelminthes, and tell me what is the answer for this. So the correct answer is, because in Porifera, the body organization is so simple. If you look at body organization, again, the chart on page number 66, it is cellular grade. It is cellular grade. Cellular grade means they have cells, they don't have tissues. So it is considered that Porifera are neither diploblastic nor triploblastic. Some people also call them as monoblastic. They are also classified as monoblastic. So this is an important question. This is an exceptional question, that we only studied diploblastic and triploblastic, and majority, all other organisms, all other phylum of the kingdom Animalia, the organisms are either diploblastic or triploblastic. But sponges, the Porifera, are special cases. They are so simple that they are considered even not even diploblastic. So if we stick to that definition, then the answer here is only one phylum, that is Cnidaria or Coelenterata. Cnidaria, Coelenterata. I hope This makes sense. So when in our notes, when we are annotating in the textbook, write, because it is not given in the textbook whether they are diploblastic or triploblastic. Right? They are neither diploblastic nor triploblastic for Porifera. Another detective question. Now the question reads, I live in your small intestine. Your means hamare. The organism is talking to us, human beings that are studying. Pseudocoelom is present in my thread-like body. In which phylum will you include me? This is such a simple question. If you just pay attention, just one piece of information is enough for us to tell us which phylum this organism should belong to. Yep. Some of you are already giving the right answers in the chat. The question is about phylum only, not the exact organism. The most important piece of information in this is the word thread-like. Thread-like. This is the defining feature of the organisms belonging to the phylum Aschelminthes. Round worms. Right? And yes, they live in our intestine. They are endoparasites. They have a pseudocoelom. They are pseudocoelomate. So the answer is Aschelminthes. We need to know the names of the phyla. We need to remember the characteristics of the phyla, and from there we need to identify which phylum it belongs to, the organism belongs to. Another detective situation. Though I am multicellular, मैं multicellular तो हूँ, this organism is talking to us. There are no tissues in my body. Although I am multicellular, there are no tissues. What is the name of my phylum? And we discussed this just 2 minutes ago. Khadija, your answer is correct. Multicellular, yes, all organisms in the kingdom Animalia are multicellular. So one of the phyla. Which phyla? Where we do not have tissues, we only have cells. That is why we cannot classify it as either diploblastic or triploblastic. Very good. The answer is the phylum Porifera. Right? So this is question number 1 from exercise. Part A and part D, they are related to each other. Part A answer is Cnidarias or Coelenterate, but to answer that, we need to know this, that Porifera are neither diploblastic nor triploblastic because they do not have tissues. Tissues are not developed. But let's try another question, and here you'll have to write in your notebook, take a picture and send it to me. Another type of question. Write the characters. No, we should not say characters. We should write characteristics. There is a difference between character and characteristics. Characteristics are physical features. Characters are more about how something is internally, emotionally, psychologically. It's a soft aspect. Characteristics are visible aspects. Write the characteristics of each of the following animals. So we will try this bath sponge. So specific organism is given and we have to write its characteristics. And it says with the help of the classification chart. Of course, in the exam, you will not have the classification chart, but here you have the textbook. You are trying, you are practicing. So use the textbook, write the main characteristics of bath sponge. Find out what phylum it belongs to. See what characteristics the organisms of this phylum have. List down the main characteristics in your notebook. Take a picture, send it to me on WhatsApp. So, when we are asked to write the characteristics of each of the following animals, and the animal is bath sponge, right? One part of information is directly here. See, bath sponge. It clearly says this is black, round shaped, and body is mainly made up of fibers of spongin. They can hold water. This is one part of information which is specific to this animal. But there is more information which is generic to this phylum, to the phylum to this animal belongs, and the phylum is Porifera. Right? There are 8 points here. So these are the 8 points that are required in addition to that specific information. And we don't need to write everything in full sentences, the main points. Cells, they are sedentary. Collar cells, osculum, what do they eat? How do they reproduce? These are the things that we have to write. Do we need to write examples? Absolutely no. So look at the notes, look at the slides from the previous class. You will know what we have to write. Before we start the next phylum, which is Arthropoda, there is some interesting question about Annelida. Why is earthworm called as friend of farmers? Earthworms को, केंचुओं को किसान का दोस्त क्यों कहा जाता है? Also, how may be the leech used in Ayurvedic system of treatment? So when it says get information, either you know the information or you will find out the information from different sources. Those sources can be your parents, sources can be your friends, sources can be internet, sources can be teachers. So for now, for today, I'm giving you the information. And remember, there are a number of such interesting questions that are there in the chapter, which will help us understand these organisms so much better. केंचुए जो होते हैं, if you remember, they live under the soil and they keep moving. When they keep moving, they keep turning the soil. और आपको पता है, you know, खेती करते समय सबसे पहले खेत को जोता जाता है. Tilling happens. Soil को उल्टा किया जाता है, so that उसमें oxygen आए, plants are able to breathe properly. And this is being helped by the earthworm and other things also. जो earthworm का waste product होता है, that is nutritious for the plants. There are other things also that earthworm does, which is useful to farmers. Find out on your own and share in the next class. Leeches. Leeches, we studied that they stick to our skins, stick to our bodies and suck the blood. And the same leech can be used to suck something bad from our body. And it is used to do that in Ayurvedic treatment. Yes, it is. The same function that a leech can do, which may harm us, can be used to treat us. Interesting facts. Okay, moving on to the next phylum, which is Arthropoda. And this is how the animals of this phylum look. Butterfly belongs to Arthropoda. Centipede belongs to Arthropoda. Cockroach belong to Arthropoda. In a very simple way, we can say, in a very simple way, not all insects belong to this phylum, Arthropoda. Insects, not spider though. Spider is not an insect. What are the characteristics? They have jointed appendages. Appendages means the hands and legs. देखो उनके joints होते हैं, bend होते हैं. आप सबने देखा ही. And arthropod, this word comes from jointed appendages. When the organism has jointed appendages, they are called arthropod. Latin. And this is the phylum in which the maximum number of animals, different types of animals are there. This is the largest phylum of animal kingdom. They live in all kinds of places: water, air, trees, plants, mountains, everywhere. Triploblastic, eucoelomate, and bilaterally symmetrical. Of course, they are segmented. And interestingly, unlike Annelida, where all the segments are similar, in case of Arthropoda, not all the segments may be similar. If you look at the centipede, it looks, देखो यहाँ पर भी ring जैसे दिख रहा है ना? So it is very similar to earthworm, segmentation wise. But if you look at cockroach, you will ask, where are the segments? There is a segment. First segment is this head. Then there is the thorax. Then there is the abdomen. So these are the main segments. So segments can be different from each other, but the body is divided into segments. Chitinous exoskeleton is present around their body. Unke body ke bahar mein, there is a scale-like thing which is solid, hard. It is made up of chitin. Chitin is a substance which protects them. They are unisexual. That means either they are male or they are female. They are not hermaphrodites. And see the examples, how big the list is of example. Crab, spider. Ask again, is it a arthropod or not? Why did sir say that this is not an insect? Please find out and we will talk about it in the next class. Spider, you will find it as arachnid. Should it belong here in the phylum Arthropoda or not? Annotate in your textbook and find the answer to this question. Crab, spider, scorpion, millipede, centipede. These are millipede, 1,000 legs, centipede, 100 legs, cockroach, butterfly, honeybee, etc. The insects. Once again, there are some interesting questions. In insects से हमको क्या फायदा होता है, क्या नुकसान होता है? We are studying it first time. We are getting to know what insects are, what these arthropoda, animals of arthropoda are. So we will not discuss these questions today, but we will discuss them in the next class. But be prepared. कि क्या है ये? Only when we understand what organisms we are talking about, then we can think how they are useful or how they are harmful. And out of these three questions, the most important is, why has it been said that only insects directly compete with humans for food? They compete with humans for food. Very, very, very important question. Think. So after Arthropoda, the next complex phylum is the phylum of Mollusca. इसमें क्या आती हैं देखो, सीपियां, snails, you know these things already. And it also includes this very intelligent organisms which is called a octopus, OCT, 8. So if I ask you how many legs or how many tentacles does an octopus have, all of you should give me the right answer. How many tentacles will the octopus have? The answer is right in the name, 8. Okay? See how different these organisms are, but they belong to the same phylum. What are the characteristics? Not characters, characteristics. soft and slimy body. And soft and slimy, again coming use borrowing from Latin, they are called mollusks. This is the second largest phylum. So largest phylum is Arthropoda, second largest is Mollusca. Aquatic or terrestrial, that means they can live both on water, and some of them live in water, and some of them live on land. And those that live in water, they live in both marine water and fresh water. Triploblastic, eucoelomate, non-segmented body and soft. But there are exceptions. The exceptions are snail. देखो उनका covering है बाहर का. Their body is divided into 3 divisions like head, foot and the visceral mass. The visceral mass is covered with mantle. जैसे अर्थ का mantle होता है, इनका भी mantle होता है. And this mantle, this part of the body secretes a material that solidifies into a shell. This shell may be absent, present, internal or external. So if you were thinking कि ये shell आता कहाँ से है, बनता कहाँ से है, they create it. The shell is created through the secretion of the body of these organisms. They are also unisexual. Examples include bivalves. ये हमने पढ़ा होगा किसमें? What is this called? जिसमें हम मोतियां बनाते हैं. Do you remember this? What is this called? It is a kind of pisciculture where we and we have studied this in English also in one of the poems. How हम उन सीपियों को खोलते हैं. We put a grain of sand, and that grain of sand, which is very painful to the mollusk, but it then transforms into a pearl. Snails and octopus. Very important thing, interesting thing is octopus is very clever and it can change its color to hide. वो जहां पर होगा, it can take the color of its surroundings. It can swim, it can creep, and it can even walk on its tentacles. See, this is what I was talking about. Pearl production, pearl culture using bivalves. And during this process, the bivalve dies. The animal is killed. The next phylum is Echinodermata. See how they look? Again, so many varieties. Starfish. Look at the shape and you know why it is called a starfish. It looks like a star. Doesn't look like fish, but it is called starfish. Sea cucumber. Cucumber मतलब क्या? अपनी खीरा, ककड़ी. Sea cucumber, but it's not a vegetable, it's an animal. Sea urchin, देखो कितना खतरनाक दिख रहा है. It has spikes. All of them have spikes in their bodies. These animals are of the phylum Echinodermata. What are the characteristics? Not characters, characteristics. Calcareous spines. So they have spines which are made up of calcium and other things. And because of these calcareous spines, again borrowing from Latin, they are called echinoderm. Echinoderms means the skins have spines. They are found only in the ocean, so aquatic, not just aquatic, marine. Triploblastic eucoelomate, radially symmetrical in adult stage. But when they are larva is the previous step. When they are growing, first they are not getting into how many stages of their growth are, but when they are larva, their body is not radially symmetrical, it is only bilaterally symmetrical. But when they grow, when they become adults, they are radially symmetrical. देखो स्टार को कहीं से भी काट सकते हैं ना, and it will divide into 2 equal parts. They can move from one place to another. What are their legs called? They are called tube feet. And the same legs, the tube feet, are also useful to capture prey. They have something called as like vacuums. तो उसको पकड़ लेते हैं, चिपक जाता है. Prey means उनका शिकार. But some of them, they don't move. They are sedentary. They have skeleton. जैसे हमारा skeleton होता है, हमारी हड्डियां, they also have skeletons, and it is made up of calcareous spines or ossicles, plates. Understand the difference. Spines will be pointed, needle-like. Ossicles will be plate-like. Latin names. These animals have good ability of regeneration. Now, this is something very, very unique to this phylum. Regeneration means फिर से बन जाना. So, for example, if we cut this part of the starfish here, then it will grow again. That doesn't happen to us, our human bodies. अगर हमारे body का amputation होता है for some reason, then it does not grow back. But these organisms have this ability to regrow their body. They are mostly unisexual, not all. So most of them are either male or female, but some are hermaphrodites. Examples you already see. Starfish, sea urchin, brittle star, sea cucumber. What you should be doing for this chapter is, yes, there are many pictures for most of the organisms that are mentioned in the chapter. The pictures are also included, but there are many, in many cases, the names are mentioned, but the pictures are not given. At least do this research, put the name on internet, Google, and see how they look. When we see, our understanding improves. The next phylum is called Hemichordata. Hemi, आपने ये word पहले सुना होगा. Not word, this prefix. Hemi means half. देखो कहाँ तक नाम अभी पहुंच रहा है. Hemichordata, not chordate yet, but almost there. क्यों है ऐसा? So if we understand the words, if we know our basics right, then it will be easier for us to understand. This is how they look. The pictures are there. They look very interesting. क्या है ये? Let us read and understand. Their bodies are divided into 3 parts: proboscis, collar, and trunk. Proboscis, to understand in a simple way, is like the mouth. Collar, you can think of it as neck. And trunk is like the chest. And everything else. Notochord is present in proboscis. So notochord is there, see? But it is there only in the proboscis, nowhere else. So they have the notochord, but the notochord is present only in part of the body. That is why they are called half-chordate, Hemichordata. The common name is acorn worms. So another worm. First we saw flatworms, Platyhelminthes. Then we saw roundworms, Aschelminthes. Now we are looking at acorn worms, Hemichordata. They are marine. They also live in burrows, in sand. Burrows means गड्ढा खोद के उसके अंदर जमीन के अंदर घुस जाते हैं. In sand, जहाँ पे रेत होता है. So they will be found in deserts and under the sea, ocean floor. They have 1 to many pharyngeal gill slits. If you have seen fishes, उनके आंख के पीछे में जहाँ हमारा कान होता है, they have gills, and these gills fishes use for respiration. Like that, they also have pharyngeal gills. Mostly, they are unisexual. Some may be hermaphrodite. They are the link between the non-chordate and chordate. This is very clear. They are the link between chordate and non-chordate because they have the notochord, but it is present in only part of the body. Connecting link, chapter number 1, evolution. They have some characteristics that of non-chordates, and there are some characteristics that of chordates. Balanoglossus, saccoglossus, balanoglossus and saccoglossus. Finally, we move to something that is very, very closely related to us. Finally, we move to the phylum Chordata. Remember, in the traditional classification, the kingdom Animalia is divided into 2 subkingdoms, non-chordates and chordates. But in the 5 kingdoms classification, there is no such subkingdom. All multicellular organisms are part of kingdom Animalia, and then there are phyla. So the first phyla is Porifera. We completed that. Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata. 9. The 10th phylum under the kingdom Animalia in the 5 kingdom system is not Hemichordata but Chordata. Now we have come to the phylum Chordata. So of course, all the organisms, all the animals in this phylum will have notochord in some shape or form. So these animals have supporting notochord in their body. Notochord is the spine, the backbone. All chordates are included in the same phylum. Yep. The phylum Chordata is classified into 3 subphyla. The 3 subphyla are Urochordata, Cephalochordata, where is that? Urochordata, then yes, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. We will study that in detail. But what are the common characteristics of the phylum Chordata? Very important, because we belong to this phylum. Notochord is present in the body during at least some developmental stage. And the notochord is present in different forms in different organisms. So that is why I keep saying notochord is present at some stage in some shape or form. Pharyngeal gill slits are present in the body during at least any developmental stage. And if you remember, the embryonic stages, the figure of embryos, including human beings, from chapter number 1, we saw even the human embryo looks like a fish embryo at the early stages, including the fact that even human embryos have pharyngeal gill slits when we are an embryo. Single, one, tubular, and a tube jaisa spinal cord is present in the dorsal side of the body. Yes, this is what is called the notochord. Heart is present on the ventral side of the body. पेट के side में heart होता है, and पीठ के side में spinal cord or the notochord is there. Now let us look at the 3 subphyla. Phyla is plural, phylum is singular. Urochordata. Look at the interesting pictures. Doliolum and Herdmania. Herdmania, when I look at this organism, I think of the human heart. It looks so similar to the human heart. But this is not an organ. This is an organism in itself. This is an animal. All these animals belonging to Urochordata, they are marine. They are covered with a skin-like tissue, which is skin-like. यहाँ पे spelling mistake है. Skin-like vest or tunic. Vest means जो हम shirt पहनते हैं, जो हम बनियान पहनते हैं, we can call it a vest. So they seem to have something like a outer covering, not made up of chitin, but it's more soft. They also have multiple stages of the development, and one of the stages is larva, which can swim, and they have notochord in the only the tail region. Notochord starts developing from the tail, and euro is tail. Eurochordata means notochord present in the tail. This larva metamorphoses means changes into adults after settling down, or they connect to the bottom of the sea and they change. I'm sure you have studied about this process of how butterflies are formed. Larva, pupa, adult, they change from one stage to another. Similarly, they also start as larvae and grow into adults. Generally, Rahul, pay attention, they are not unisexual, they are hermaphrodites. Means these organisms usually have both the male reproductive organs and the female reproductive organs in the same body. So Herdmania, Doliolum, and Oicoleura. Oicoleura. P is silent. This is called Cephalochordata. Cephalochordata. They are small and they look like fishes. They are marine. Their notochord is present throughout the body. And in the middle of the notochord protects the nerve cord. The spine protects the spinal cord. Pharynx is very large and contains gill slits. Ye hai. They are also unisexual. Example is Amphioxus. Liver we know, intestine we know, anus we know, segmented muscles also. Now they have some tissue which is resembling muscles. And this new word, gonads. Gonads are the sex organs of any organisms. Sex organs are also called as gonads. The next subphylum, which is again important for us because we as human beings belong to this subphylum, is called as vertebrata or craniata. Do you know what is cranium? Have you come across this word? Do you know where it is in our body? We have both a vertebrae. We have vertebrae and we also have a cranium. Cranium is our skull in which the brain is there. Brain is not the cranium, Prachi beta. The skull is the cranium. The brain is an organ inside the cranium. The cranium protects the brain. The skull protects the brain. And the vertebrae are the individual bones of our backbone. Parts of the spine. Now things become more interesting. In these animals, notochord is replaced by vertebral column. Remember, Chand has told us in the very, very beginning that notochord looks like the spinal spine. Yes, he was right. Because notochord is the same thing that later develops in higher organisms, in more complex organisms. In the phylum Vertebrata, notochord develops into a vertebral column, the spine. Head is well developed. See, skull, our head. So what our vertebral column is well developed and our head is also well developed. That is why these are called vertebrata or craniata. Brain is protected by the cranium. We know this. Endoskeleton is either cartilaginous or bony. Easy for people to understand who eat fish and chicken. The जो मछली में कांटे होते हैं that is cartilaginous. जो चिकन की हड्डियां होती हैं that is bony. And you have studied these things: tissues, cartilage, tendons, ligament, muscles. So our endoskeleton of these vertebrata and craniata, they can be cartilaginous and or bony. Usually there is a mixture. Some of them do not have a jaw. Jaw means ye, jabada. They are called agnatha. And others have the jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. Remember, our upper jaw is fixed, जिसमें कि दांत लगे हुए हैं. Our lower jaw is movable, mandible. This is called mandible, one of the strongest bones in our body. So when the organisms have jaws in their bodies, they are called gnathostomata. G is silent. Names and names. We'll have to know, we'll have to remember. We will leave the details of the different types of phyla and subphyla for today, for this class here. We have come to the main part of the chapter, which is about organisms that are very, very similar to us. So in the next class, we will see how the subphylum Vertebrata is divided into 6 subclasses. The subclasses are Cyclostomata, Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammalia. We belong, of course, we are the most complex organism. We are in the top of the food pyramid also. So we are mammals. We will study this in the next class. But today, let us continue and see what other questions we can answer from the exercise. If you remember, in the beginning of the class, we answered this question 1A, C, and D. 1A, C, and D. We left B. Look at the question B, which says, my body is, again, identify me. You have to look at the characteristics and we are listening. We are listening to the organism who is talking to us. So the organism is saying, my body is radially symmetrical. Water vascular system is present in my body. I am referred to as fish, though I'm not. What is my name? What is my name? Now here the name is not for the phylum. It is asking about a specific organism. पढ़ लिया हमने इसके बारे में. Try find out which organism are we talking about. The most important part of this question is where it says, I'm referred as fish, though I'm not. Second important part is I'm radially symmetrical. So definitely the name has fish in it and it is radially symmetrical. Then our answer is very clear. The organism is starfish, which belongs to the phylum Echinodermata. But here we need to name the organism. So the answer is starfish. So make an annotation in your textbook on page number 71 for starfish. Water vascular system. They have water vascular system. Look at question number 2. We have already looked at first organism under question number 2, which is bath sponge. We can also answer about grasshopper and jellyfish. Grasshopper and jellyfish. And it's very easy for you to write. So right now, tell me, which phylum does the grasshopper belong to? If you can identify the phylum, then we can write the characteristics. Which phylum does the grasshopper belong to? Very good, Chand. Very good, Chand. It's very easy. Grasshopper, टिड्डा हिंदी में कहते हैं उसको. Correct, Khadija? It's an insect. It has jointed appendages. So it belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. So the characteristics of Arthropoda will have to be listed for the organism grasshopper. insect. Next one that we can answer is jellyfish. Refer to the textbook. Try find out which phylum does the jellyfish belong to. Aman is saying mollusca. Others are saying something else. Yes, jellyfish belongs to the phylum Cnidaria coelenterata. It's not a mollusk. I understand, Aman. I'm so happy that you explained why you are calling it a mollusk. You are saying that they are soft, but there are other things also, no? They are polyps. Umbrella-like. Is it umbrella-like or is it a cylinder-like? What is it? It's an umbrella-like. So it's a medusa, not a polyp. So if we know the characteristics of Coelenterata, Cnidaria, then we can write the characteristics of jellyfish. We can do this. So from question number 2, we can already answer for bath sponge, grasshopper, and jellyfish. Let's see if we can answer something from question number 5. Shark, we haven't studied yet. Can we answer this? Write 4 distinguishing characteristics. Again, not characters, characteristics of the phylum Echinodermata. Padha humne? Where is the answer in the textbook? Which page is it on? Page number 71, top of the page. Correct. 4 important, not all. There are 7 given, 4 important ones. So spines are important, tube fit is important, regeneration is also important, those things. Let us see if we can answer more questions from 5C. We have butterfly and bat. No, we haven't studied bat yet. D6. Question number 5, D. To which phylum does cockroach belong to? Justify your answer with scientific reason. So, बहुत आसान question. Tell me the answer now. Which phylum does the cockroach belong to? And justify your answer. Very simple. Yes, it belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. And why? What is the one main thing that makes it an arthropod? It has jointed appendages. Excellent. Good class. Okay. Nothing more needs to be written. Cockroaches belong to the phylum Arthropoda because they have jointed appendages. Enough. Complete. Answer is complete. Okay. So we can answer that question also. Then look at question number 6. Tortoise. No, we haven't studied amphibia. Question number 6B is very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Now, if you paid attention to when we were discussing question number 2, and we said jellyfish belongs to the phylum Cnidaria coelenterata. If you understood that, you will be able to answer question number 6B. It says our body irritates if it comes in contact with jellyfish. Think and answer. The answer is not directly given in the textbook, but we know what phylum the jellyfish belongs. And if you know that, we can answer this question. Think and share. Jellyfish belong to the phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria, and organisms of this phylum have cells called cnidoblasts in their tentacles, and these cnidoblasts have toxins. This toxin causes the irritation. So the word that we are looking for, the word that any teacher will look for when you are writing this answer is cnidoblasts and toxins. Tentacles come later. Cnidoblasts and toxin. Look at the jellyfish. Do they really have tentacles? Hydra has tentacles. Yes, they also have tentacles, right? But the cells which have the toxins, they are called cnidoblasts. Please confirm that you have understood the difference in the answer that you gave and the answer that I'm suggesting you to write. Be more specific. Good. Thanks for the confirmation. 6D. Balanoglossus is connecting link between non-chordates and chordates. Do you remember Balanoglossus? Which phylum does it belong to? Balanoglossus. Dhundo. Very good, Khadija. They belong to the phylum Hemichordata. Hemichordata, and we understood that they do have a notochord, but the notochord is only present at the proboscis part of the body. It's not there in the entire body. That is why they have some characteristics which are like chordates and some characteristics that are like non-chordates. So they are considered to be the connecting link between chordates and non-chordates. You can answer this also. Okay. A bonus question is 6C. We are not going to discuss it now. See if you can answer it on your own. All vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Very simple actually. All vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. We are not discussing the answer now. We will move on. Multiple choice questions. Number 7. 7A. Which special cells are present in the body of sponges? Phylum Porifera. It's just a test of your memory. How much information you have remembered. This chapter is more about memory than about understanding. But there are questions, just like the jellyfish question, which are about understanding. Correct. They have collar cells. Correct answer. Next, which of the following animals' body shows bilateral symmetry? Bilateral means two equal parts, not radial, not asymmetrical, but bilateral. We can answer this. Correct. Once again, Chan. Earthworm. Earthworm को अगर ये earthworm है, तो हम इसको ऐसे, if you imagine cutting it, then it has the left side and the right side, which are symmetrical to each other. So bilateral symmetry. Good, correct answer. Look at C. This also we can answer. Which of the following animals can regenerate its broken body part? See, very important thing, no? Yes, correct. Starfish. Okay. So we can answer 7A, B, and C. 7A, B, and C. Let us look at more questions. Question number 8. It says complete the following chart. The chart or a table. The table has 3 columns. First column is about body cavity, about the coelom. The second column is about germ layer. And the third column is about the phylum. Good question for us to refer to the information again and again and again, and then fill this chart, fill this table. Yes, you can do it, and you will do it on your own. You will look at the details of the different phylum. You will see which one has what germ layers, or what type of organism it is. It is diploblastic, triploblastic, what? And Porifera will always be asked. It is very specific question. It is neither diploblastic nor triploblastic. A lot of questions we can answer. Question number 10 says, Sketch, label, and classify. No, such questions don't come. We are studying science, not art. Good to know art, but not necessary for science. And question number 11 is label the following. Yes, this type of question may come where the picture will be given and you will be asked to label the parts. So we can label the parts of jellyfish. Then I think we have some other organism also. I am not able to remember what it is. I think it's a platyhelminthes. So I think this is a platyhelminthes. This is a fish which we haven't studied. And this is a centipede or a millipede. So 1, 2, and 3, this we can label, these 3. Rough diagram, scientifically correct diagram is necessary. Artistically good diagram is not necessary. Good to have, but not necessary. Question number 9, we will complete when we finish understanding the remaining part of the chapter. So this is where we will end. I will complete the slides and share with you. So the last slide will mention what the homework questions are. So we are getting a lot of information in this chapter. Please catch up. Don't leave it to the end. One of the easier chapters in science.